the one thing that I think, to the extent that I do feel hopeful about, is that the Democrats are going to retake the House. So there will be some, in the worst case scenario, Donald Trump wins and he gets the Senate. There'll be some slow to the roll. It will be a real problem for the judiciary again, which is an issue.
It's unthinkable, Sam. He can't win again. I mean, it's not.
I think people need to think about it so that they'll get them motivated. But it is, the idea of Trump winning and there being a theocrat as the Speaker of the House. I mean, it's one thing to have the vice president, but I don't know that the Speaker isn't more powerful with a Republican president if the Speaker isn't more powerful when you're talking about theocrats. I know that Pence was the VP. Oh, we lost it again. I don't know what's going on.
Heather is having those thunderstorms in her area, so I feel like that's got to be something like that. Well, there she is.
There
again.
she's back.
I am so sorry. I can't explain it. It's just I got weather here, I guess. It's ridiculous. Anyway.
The idea of what's happening in Congress. I mean, I haven't seen any polling of the 18 districts that Biden won and are represented by Republicans, but you can see, the Republicans getting nervous. Particularly the ones in New York, I notice. Mm-hmm. They were very excited to get rid of George Santos, but they've had to vote for the impeachment. I mean, I think that's going to be the sort of a real problem for them down the road, it seems to me.
Oh, for sure. And then you've got this new ruling that, the gerrymander is now out in New York, so that should make a difference.
Yep.
Really, I mean, Mike Johnson we really take a minute to talk about him because and I'm sure you have in the past here, but I'm telling you, this guy is something else. And he is as dangerous in a different way as Donald Trump is. And the combination of the two of them is terrifying because he is a real theocrat. I mean, we're not talking just sort of, a pretend guy who's out there, going to the mega church in order to, get votes. I mean, he's for real. In fact, this week, I don't know if you remember, Sam, probably close to 20 years ago, we were talking about this, and it was part of the rise of the theocratic right during the early 2000s. When we were talking about those purity balls, do you remember those?
Oh, the purity balls where a father takes daughter there.
He marries his daughter. Basically, she's wearing a wedding dress, and they exchange rings, and she commits herself to her father until her husband comes along. Yep. All that. It was really, let's talk grooming. Huh? I mean, that's really some sick stuff. Mike Johnson just turned up. There was some tape of him. He and his daughter did the purity ball thing, and it's on tape. You can see him doing it. This poor little girl, as his daughter. I mean, this is what we're talking about. That is the far extreme religious right, Christian nationalist, the worst of the worst. And this guy is, he's second in line to the presidency, extremely powerful job. And his connection there with that far right aspect of Christian nationalism is just, it's terrifying to me. And when you combine that with Trump and his newfound love of Adolf Hitler, who, copied him, we're talking about a Republican Party that's gone even further than I anticipated they would be able to go. And they seem to be running with it. I don't see any backtracking. I don't see any, Trump came out this week and his people said, yeah, we like this poisoning the blood thing. We're going to run with it. He's not backing off. And so this is a very terrifying thing. And the only good news is that the Republicans in the House are so inept and so dysfunctional that they're unable to actually do much. And of course, thank God we have a Democratic Senate and then, a Democrat in the White House that stops them from actually passing any of their legislation. But nonetheless, this is a very crazy time. This isn't, this is beyond what we've seen before. Let's just put it that way. And I think people need to really be aware of just how
And Johnson is very, he first off, he's got the whole lying for the Lord thing down. He is, he's out there, he realizes that the American public cannot be sold this, his agenda at the moment. I think he realizes the American public can never be sold the agenda. I don't think that's the issue. The issue, I think, is he realizes, like, we don't have the other branches of government. We don't have the other house. We don't have we don't have the Senate. We don't have the presidency. So there's, keep the powder dry. But yes, this guy is full on theocrat, and second in line to the presidency, but far more powerful, it seems to me, in terms of being able to actually create legislation than the vice president. And so,
the vice who cares about the vice president?
Exactly.
Right?
I mean, Pence was the highest ranking theocrat that we have had in this country. But I really think that Mike Johnson is this guy now.
Yeah.
A lot to be sort of concerned about as we go into 2024. We're obviously going to be talking about just about all this stuff again, it seems to me. We're going to enjoy, I think, Ron DeSantis, sort of whimpering away.
That's my Christmas present to myself, is to enjoy watching Ron DeSantis disintegrate before my eyes. It's a beautiful thing.